Hey guys, welcome back to another theory video. It's your boy Dawson's43, and for this one, I wanted to make a theory video on Spongebob. My last one was about the Doge Dog and John Cena owning PepsiCo and everything behind that and how I found it. So you can get a link to that in the top right corner, but let's just get straight into this one. So I went to a place the other day that's a pretty famous place. I'm not going to tell you exactly where, but it was nautical themed. So nautical meaning, if you don't know, that's revolving around the ocean, around ships and sailing and stuff like that. And I found out about this system of flags that you can see on the screen right now, and it's called the Maritime Flag System. So what it does is, as you can see from the chart, different flags mean different letters or numbers, which I guess can be used to communicate at sea. I guess you could like raise them on a ship. And I was looking at this, and I thought it was pretty cool, but something caught my eye. This thing that specifically caught my eye on the charts was the India flag. Now, as you can see, it's yellow with a black dot in the middle. Does that seem familiar? Well, I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but a few minutes later, it came to me. This flag was one of the flags on the Krusty Krab. I mean, it's an exact matchup. Look at that and tell me it's not exactly the same. This got me thinking about a lot of different things. The first one was, man, could Mr. Krabs be trying to spell out something with the letter I? And could it be revealing in code? Yes, I think so. Could I turn this into a YouTube video? Yes, I think so. Was that bean burrito I ate for lunch today good? Yes, I know so. My next step was to then frantically figure out what the next ones meant. The first flag, the one that's red with the yellow cross in the middle, is the Romeo flag, which means R. So we had RI. The next one I couldn't quite figure out. The fourth one was uniform, which represents U. It was actually upside down, but I think we'll take it because it's obviously what it means, and it's like really close. And there's also no other flag that would be that similar. And the last one was kilo, which means K. So what we were left with now was RI and blank in the middle and UK. This was not extremely helpful. I was determined to figure out what this meant, but I couldn't really. After 20 minutes of frantically searching through Google, I was about ready to give up. But then I found out that it was the design on the coat of arms of Zurich, Switzerland. As you can see, that little shield-looking thingy in the middle, that's the coat of arms of Zurich, Switzerland. It's sort of their representation flag type thing. And as you can see, that design with the blue in the bottom left half and the white in the top right half, that design has never been used in any instance as far as I know, and as far as most of the people of the internet know, apparently. So that's what I'm left with. And as you can see, we got that little thingy in the middle. But still, what is this supposed to mean? Especially now that it's not letters. It doesn't seem like it could be spelling out anything, which is not extremely convenient for this purpose. My next step was to do what any normal person would do and hit the internet. Not just the first thing that comes up on Google, but scroll through articles and read what the people of the internet have to say. As it turns out, I was not the only person to get this far. Apparently tons of people, especially on sites like Reddit, had already come across this and decoded it. And it looks like I was completely right about what the flags mean. It was RI and then UK at the end. A lot of people couldn't figure out what the middle one was. And a few people had also figured out the Zurich, Switzerland thing. So this was about to get really interesting. One Reddit user suggested that the RI at the beginning represented Rhode Island. The flag in the middle was to represent Zurich, Switzerland, and the UK was to represent, well, the UK, the United Kingdoms, if that wasn't clear. So this would be 3 different locations, and they suggested that it might be where the producers are from. As far as people go on the show, this doesn't seem to be the case, but I thought that was a good sort of outside-the-box thinking we needed. If it doesn't spell anything, there's got to be some sort of code like this. So this wasn't proving to be very helpful. I hadn't found out a whole lot through this experience scrolling through the internet, a lot more than I had previously. But I did come across the fact that there are more flags on the inside of the Krusty Krab that are similar and need to be also decoded. So this was, a next step in the right direction we were trying to go. Because if there's all these flags, we should surely figure those out too. So what I got next, which was later confirmed, I wanted to be sure, but I confirmed it by other internet users. I got the coat of arms of Zurich, Switzerland, once again, I, R, and M. Now, I wasn't really sure what I, R, and M meant, but it sounded like an acronym, you know? It sounded like one of those things you say in business corporations or something. So I looked it up, and you'll never believe what I found. I found Information Rights Management. IRM is an acronym for it. So, Information Rights Management, I admit I don't really fully understand what it means. I think it could be also partly a corporate term. But overall, it is sort of this idea of protecting against hacking. And once I searched that up with things like Zurich, you'll never believe what I found. Zurich Insurance. It ended up being the complete key to all of this, finding out what flags in the front meant. But we'll get to that part later. Overall, I think this was definitely a sign. IRM being Information Rights Management, and Zurich, well, Zurich Insurance is a company that, as you can assume, it's in Zurich, Switzerland, and it is insurance. And they offered, tech insurance, which would be related to IRM, or Information Rights Management. So this coincidence? I think not. So this was a very big find, and I think that's what Zurich means. It's not the coat of arms of Zurich. It means Zurich Insurance. When I made my last theory video, I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I should stop snooping around in major companies' secret business. But this was just too good to be true. We're, from now on, going to replace Zurich coat of arms with Zurich Insurance, because obviously that's what the flags on the inside are trying to say. They're saying that it's not Switzerland, it is the insurance company, and that is a very big deal. Although, how big of a deal was it? RI, Zurich Insurance, UK? It still doesn't help me a whole lot. I mean, maybe I've undercovered what is in the middle, but what does that mean? What do I make of it? The internet was starting to get unhelpful. No one had ever come this far. No one had ever assumed Zurich Insurance based on the flags on the inside. And that was going to be a problem. So I turned to the only people that I trust the most. All of my friends. Truly, because the power of friendship is very powerful, and because in all the movies, the main character always ends up getting help from their friends and is very grateful and happy and always wins. And of course, you can assume that this is where this is going. My friends are going to be the key to helping me find out what's happening. Yeah, no. After about a solid 15 minutes of being roasted, because apparently it's uncool to spend hours of your life on Spongebob, someone finally came through for me. It was my friend Jay. Now, we had a pretty long conversation about what was happening, and it was mainly just recap for him because he didn't understand what I was saying in the original text. He had a few ideas, but they didn't end up proving true, until he said one thing. What is the design's name? Although he was technically talking about the coat of arms of Zurich, Switzerland, this sparked something that I learned about the maritime flags, which ended up starting this whole thing. This thing was that all the flags have names. After finding out all the names of the flags again, I ended up with Romeo, India, Uniform, and Kilo. The first thing that comes up when you search Romeo, India is the Romeo helicopters that were bought by the Indian Navy, that being tons of them. And it's also kind of suspicious how there's Uniform Kilo. Well, actually, the first thing that comes up is a song, but it has other naval names, so it doesn't really count. Uniform Kilo is an investing company, which is kind of a weird name, but they invest in stonks, I believe. Who's behind the Romeo helicopters? Well, the only people behind it will be the people of Lockheed Martin who made it. Then there's the Zurich flag in the middle, as we learned from the flags in the Krusty Krab office. That's what that flag means, and Uniform Kilo Ltd. Strangely enough, what seemed like simple doodles just hours before this now represented 3 different companies that were all kind of random, or were they? What I got from all this in the end was a pretty simple theory that could be quite possibly true. Zurich Insurance is where Mr. Krabs started. He started with the IRM stuff. And then, because Zurich is actually in real life a major center of finance, he became interested in other financial jobs and ended up with Uniform Kilo, which is quite a small company, but he did end up there. And then he ended up at Lockheed Martin because he invested in their stonks and actually became interested. So he went all the way to the U.S. for that. Once, because they build Navy planes and helicopters and stuff, he then became interested in the Navy, which then caused him to start the Krusty Krab, a nautical-themed restaurant. Mr. Krabs does always tell stories about his old Navy days, and the fact that all of this could be linked together for him to end up at Lockheed Martin is hard to ignore. And, I think all this financial stuff and all this engineering stuff at Lockheed Martin and stuff, that's all boring. But his Navy days, those are fun stories to tell. And we've heard a lot of things about how he was the head chef on the SS Diarrhea and a lot of different things like that. And that's why he started the nautical-themed restaurant of the Krusty Krab. But I think these other things could have played a part in it, and that's what the flags represent, but no one's figured it out until now. Also, maybe the finance stuff could have played a part in why he's always really interested in getting more money. Call me crazy, but it's just too similarly linked together for me to ignore, and I thought it would make quite a good video. As you can see, there's just those simple designs on the Krusty Krab. You've always seen them, but you've never thought much of them till now, and my thought is that they could be representing something. But let me know what you think in the comments, if you agree or disagree with me, or if you have a theory that you think based on this. I'd be very interested in hearing it. And with that being said, please make sure you like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Subscribe with notifications, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.